Most material on the FTC's website is considered work of the United States government, which means that the press release used in this video is in the public domain and is not subject to copyright restriction 17 U.S.C. 105. Appropriate attribution will be added to the description of this video in respect to the FTC. Also, if you are a small child within the age of 13 and under, you are responsible for untold chaos at the YouTube venue. The Scott Victor channel would like to formally remind you that this channel is not intended for your consumption.
Welcome back. This is the second video on the FTC's press conference on YouTube and COPPA. Now, I'm going to shine a light on what they say and interpret and sort of read between the lines to uncover what they're really thinking. One of those things is how they are absolutely clueless about how the removal of data collection kills the ability for creators to succeed in the venue, how the COPPA law will destroy any potential future content for the 13 and under niche, how the FTC basically considers us all to be criminals first, and if you get busted, how the actual fine is created. It's going to make you feel a lot better, so stay tuned for that information. You're going to love it. Now, if you're new to my channel and you produce YouTube content at your desk and use a Windows 10 computer, you've come to the right place. I talk about editing software, YouTube strategy, and information on OBS Studios all the time at this channel. Subscribe and click the bell for new video notification.
Looked at in context, we do a lot of these sweeps. Frequently, we conduct these sweeps in conjunction with law enforcement partners in states and elsewhere. And we recently did a sweep on robocalling. That was
a sweep on robocalls. You got to be kidding me. That wasn't effective.
We do routinely, and it does take some period of time to develop an enforcement action. Yes, Margaret.
Commissioner Slaughter raised concerns that this would maybe incentivize content creators to misidentify programming to ensure that they continue to receive revenue from behavioral advertising. Can you respond to that criticism, and how might the FTC combat that issue?
So I think that's a valid concern. There is apparently, we've learned in this investigation and just learned from, in the now information in the public domain, that there are benefits to gathering information and targeting advertising. And so
is it me, or does it sound like he's sort of just now learning the fact that by collecting data on these kids, that basically by turning all that off, it kills your ability to develop a community? You can't even have the bell work. You can't make comments happen. You lose 60 to 90% of your revenue. It's basically a nail in the coffin for your channel for any creator that's above, say, 10,000 to 50,000 subscribers. That mid-level area is it's a death knell. It's catastrophic. And it seems like he doesn't even know what the hell's going on with that side of the argument. It's like, I'm just now learning from my people and from the general community that not collecting data is detrimental. It's like, dude, really?
Offering this platform to content creators, and if the FTC is bringing independent piecemeal actions against content creators for violating COPPA, that may discourage content creators from posting content on YouTube.
That may discourage? That may discourage. That's going to kill any future content creators from even touching that demographic of 13 and under. No one in their right mind would ever do anything in that kind of a realm. No one. No one. You'd have to be crazy.
So the analogy that I think of, imperfect, is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. And YouTube is the barrel, and the content creators are the fish. And so it's a place where this content is centralized, and essentially it's easy for us to find.
Now, here's the way I see this. This statement is really ugly. First and foremost, what it's going to do is piss off an army of creators. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of creators on YouTube. They're already worried sick, and when they hear a statement like this, it creates anger, I think, in creators, and you're not dealing with corporations. You see, in the past, the FTC has been just deals with gigantic corporations, and it's not a scenario where there are hundreds of thousands of entities or companies creating content. It's just one entity. So they can get away with a statement like that. But this kind of statement really drives home the thinking that they are ivory tower, draconian, jackboot kind of guys that can just say whatever they want and do whatever they want to do to generate as much money as possible for themselves, regardless of who the people are and what they're doing and why they're doing it. We are creators. We are making this content with no to little pay. We put endless hours into our channels to do the best work we can do. We are selfless, and to hear that is an insult to the army of creators at this venue. We are not criminals. We are not criminals. Okay, this next question is very interesting. He basically asks the guy, isn't it unfair that individual creators can get sued and there is no individual that works for YouTube that gets sued individually? But what comes out here is a clear explanation as to how the penalty is created. And if you have a small channel and you're not making a lot of money, or maybe you're making no money, and you think there is the potential that you could be understood as creating content for kids under 13, listen very closely, because it defines how the fee is generated, how the penalty is generated. It's going to make you feel a lot better. Listen to this.
Thank you for taking my second question. Another criticism of the settlement today has been an alleged double standard by the FTC, that it holds small COPPA violators individually liable for the COPPA violations, whereas YouTube, Google, big company, Silicon Valley, no individual executives have been held accountable in this order.
So I differ with that characterization of our COPPA enforcement to date. I do not believe that we treat small companies and big companies differently.
So the FTC thinks that you're a company. I know you don't think you're a company. I'm just thinking that you're an individual that just signed up to YouTube and wanted to have some fun. I'm telling you, as time passes, when all the dust settles from this nonsense, YouTube is going to make it a little bit more difficult to sign up, because you have to understand that as far as everybody's concerned in the attorney arena, you're a company and not an individual. Oh, man.
With respect to an individual liability standard for a civil penalty, you have to show that an individual has actual knowledge of the violative conduct. That, as a practical matter, is much easier to do in a company with 2 employees than in a company with 200,000 employees.
Put a smile on your face, would you? Because it's going to be easy to sue you.
In addition, we typically seek individual liability where we need to fully protect consumers.
What are we protecting these kids from exactly? I don't get it.
Be enforceable. And so in small companies, what you frequently find is that our concern is that the owner of the company, the principal of the company, will simply shut down and move across the street and do it again. So it's very important to get that individual under order.
So what he's doing here is he's outlining the crazy criminals that he deals with. These guys that break the law, then go back out again and then break the law a second time. They're dealing with these crazy elements. And if you have a channel and you're family friendly, and maybe not kid friendly, but you're family friendly, and you're just a normal bloke from the United States or just hanging out, I don't think you have much to worry about,
also,
to be honest with you.
you don't typically have those circumstances in a very large company. But I would say that with respect to the assessment of civil penalties, we have tried and I think succeeded in being even-handed. And that's why this is such an eye-popping number for Google.
Pay attention. If you get busted, this is how the fee is formulated.
So what we typically do is we look at it, we look at the revenue that was earned from the violative conduct, and we apply a multiplier to that revenue based on the circumstances of the individual case in front of us. That's what we did in Musical.ly. That's what we've done in all of our other COPPA cases as well, at least the ones on my watch. So,
okay, I'm not an attorney, but just listen to what the guy is saying here. He's saying that he looks at the amount of money that you made illegally, then they add a multiplier, so whatever money you made, then you get, I guess, penalized by 2 or 3 times. I don't know how much. And then they analyze the situation to discern how the illegality occurred. So I ask you, do you think they're going to do this? Do you think they're going to go after small channels There are hundreds of thousands of these small channels. I don't know how many there are. There's a lot of them. Do you think they're going to go after the small guys? Heck no, man. They're going to go after channels with 50,000, maybe 100,000 and up. They're going to go after the big guys, the ones that have all the money. They're in it for the money. They're not going to go in and deal with, they're not going to approach a small channel and say, now, okay, well, you owe us $5,000. How did you come about selecting a made for adults? Let's get into it. You talk to me, I talk to you. Let's go to court. Let's figure out the details. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to go for the big whales. They're going to try to make as much money as they can. They're not stupid. They don't have all the time in the world. They got other cases they have to deal with. So are you a small channel? Are you making any money? If not, if you're a small channel and you're making no money, you have very little to worry about. I repeat, you have very little to worry about. Boom!
So when we see those facts, we're going to have to evaluate them. Every case is different. We'll have to evaluate the facts that we are given, and we'll have to evaluate them in context. But if I'm a channel owner, those facts don't look so good for me.
Hi, Stephen from CBS News. Is it safe to say if YouTube is informing channel creators that they need to be COPPA compliant, they go through the training, moving forward, content creators are more at risk than the actual platform at being fined?
Content creators are always at risk of being fined because they're and channel owners, because there we have a situation where we have a website or an online service that is directed to children.
He's not answering this question because he's an attorney and he doesn't want to be definitive on the answer. But I'm telling you right now, YouTube was retroactively sued for $170 million. They paid it, right? That was with all the data collection in the past. Then they put in a stipulation where you have to define whether you're for kids or for not. If you select the wrong thing and your intent is to make content for kids and you select for adults, you are screwed from this point to the future endlessly. You're screwed. But YouTube is off the hook because they made sure that you have to make that choice. They're off the hook, and we are not.
Knowledge of data collection of child-directed content out there. Is this the end of the war or the first battle?
Well, it's clearly the first battle, right? Whether it's the only battle, I don't know. My hunch is not.
It would be my hunch as well that this is not the last battle because they're in it to create fines so that they can finance themselves. They're in the business to make money. This is going to go on forever. I mean, it's going to go on forever with YouTube until everybody gets smart and designates their channels for children. If you're directing your content for kids, oh, they'll go after Facebook. They'll go after everybody. This is never going to stop.
Could it include over-the-top television? I mean, YouTube's there. And what other kinds of platforms that host this kind of user-generated video content? And there are a lot of them. And there are new ones every day. So I think that it is clearly the first battle. Would that it were the only battle and that everybody gets the message. But from our perspective, we're not going to be resting on our laurels. That this is this is a new front in the COPPA enforcement world. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
So where is the real injustice? I really can't identify it. If you can, put it in comments and convince me. YouTube has paid the $170 million. They're off the hook for eternity. But creators are eternally exposed when you designate for adults and make a mistake and make kid under 13 content. You're exposed for eternity. YouTube is off the hook. Does this smell like the activity that should occur in the United States? Does this feel like it's wrong? I feel like it's wrong. What do you think?